My name is Eric Soto, and I had a 0.00001 chance of being stung by a bee today.
I bet that guy really loves Dr. Fauci, and I'm so happy that people are finally taking their health and safety very seriously. Welcome back, beautiful and amazing human beings. This is Luke Rudowski of WeAreChange.org. There's a lot of very important news developing right now that we're going to be talking about in this video that is going to try to give a reality check to the current situation underhand, as of course a lot of people are under a stupor or mainstream media trauma-based mind control trance that prevents them from understanding the true reality that we are all experiencing right now. But before we get into all of that plus a lot more, yesterday was a very solemn day, especially for me. I knew a lot of people that were affected by what happened 20 years ago yesterday, and this day should be remembered for the heroes, the rescue workers, the survivors, the family members, as of course a lot of these people paid the ultimate price. In my opinion, there should have been way more attention on individuals like William Rodriguez, who are national heroes that literally saved hundreds of lives on that day, but yet is continued to be ignored by the mainstream media. His events, his experiences, his actions matter, and there should have been more of a highlight and focus on individuals like him and all the other first responders who, of course, were all told that the air was safe to breathe after 9/11, when, of course, the media, the government colluded and knew that, of course, it was not. It was toxic. The ramifications of that are severe. People are still hurt. People are still dying from that big major lie by the government and media after those tragic events. And why did the government lie? Well, we still don't have answers to those direct questions, and there's a lot of questions raised, especially by victims' family members, survivors, and family members that have been asked. I personally have been asking these questions to a lot of the prominent individuals responsible here, and yet barely do we ever get any legitimate answers to what's going on here. The video that you're watching right in front of you right now is me talking to Larry Silverstein. Again, that video, by the way, is going to be in the description below, which I think is definitely worth a watch, especially with current context and even some of the latest information that was just released, surprisingly, by the Biden administration that just declassified secret FBI documents in relation to Saudi politicians and diplomats and their extremely nefarious activities and connections to the people that carried out those events. As we're learning from declassified FBI documents that the 9/11 hijackers had a very close relationship, closer than previously revealed, between Saudi politicians and diplomats. Now, this is huge. This is major because it directly contradicts the findings from the 9/11 Commission report, which largely said that they were unable to tie these Saudi politicians and diplomats to these hijackers. We know that they were lying through their teeth, as of course there was FBI documents that they had, that they were looking at, which showed the opposite of that. Why did they lie? Why did the government cover this up? Why did they censor? Why did they classify these documents for the general public not to see this larger lie? Well, that raises some very serious questions, as now we're finding out that the 9/11 Commission report lied through their teeth, even though they had direct evidence, as revealed by these FBI documents that are finally released to the general public over 20 years ago. This should have been general public knowledge from the very beginning. The United States still somehow continues to be a very close ally to Saudi Arabia, no matter who the president of the United States is. Whether it's Trump, whether it's Biden, whether it's Bush, whether it's Clinton, whether it's Obama, they all bow down to the Saudi empire. Donald Trump just gave them a record arms deal, and today, in the midst of this news, we're finding out that the United States is pulling some of its missile defense from Saudi Arabia, which the U.S. Pentagon acknowledges as a, quote, redeployment of their assets, as they are reminding everyone that the Americans still have a broad and, quote, deep commitment to its Mideast allies. Are these two events related? We don't know. But the fact is clear that the United States has been working with Saudi Arabia with some absolutely nefarious and disgusting actions, including helping create one of the worst humanitarian crises right now in Yemen. All, of course, is paid for with your tax dollars, your taxes, your government, your law enforcement, protected Saudi diplomats and government officials that were working, helping, aiding, and abetting 9/11 hijackers. What does this spell? What does this highlight? Well, a very troubling reality for a lot of people to recognize. And that's a reality that we've been speaking about, screaming about, and trying to tell the world about for over 15 years here on this independent media platform, as there's been many prominent individuals that we questioned, many important videos that we made with survivors, rescue workers, and we put our blood, sweat, and tears trying to inform people what we're finally finding out through declassified documents. And if you appreciate that, we appreciate your support as an independent media organization that is not sponsored or run by anyone except by you and your small donations. We have a page called wearechange.org/donate. There's many different ways you could get involved. There's many different ways you could help, whether cryptocurrencies, checking out our affiliate site, physical mail, Venmo, Cash App, PayPal, you name it. We got it. If you like us, if you support us for all the work that we did for over 15 years, then your generosity is, of course, greatly appreciated and will help continue this independent media organization run and continue its work. Now, another very important thing to remember is that right after 9/11, the government promised that if we relinquished, gave up some of our civil liberties, some of our human rights, that they will be given back shortly after, of course, everyone is safe. What did we get? We got a situation where the United States is less free, less safe, and those civil liberties are never coming back as politicians like George W. Bush that tanked the U.S. economy, eradicated important liberties and freedoms, and started foreign wars of aggression that created ISIS and other Saudi Arabian-backed Wahhabist groups that launched vicious attacks on the West. What we have been left with is an utter mess. And the president responsible for it still gets cheers and celebration and his butt kissed by the U.S. mainstream media. Again, the president of the United States screwed this nation, screwed his people while lying through his teeth and serving the special interest at the military-industrial complex that have left you less free, less safe, and less prosperous than we were 20 years ago from now. Meanwhile, the Taliban, stronger than ever, all of course with your tax dollars, all of course paid for by your hard work and your money that gets taken out of your paycheck and literally redistributed towards arming and funding radical jihadis in the Middle East. Now, George W. Bush told us that they hated us for our freedoms, and that, of course, was another absolute lie, especially now with our freedoms being eviscerated right in front of us. We yet another event that the government is promising us to keep us safe from. But we also have to understand that the situation in the United States is only going to get a lot worse, as, of course, there will be massive blowback for these very aggressive, egregious foreign policy moves made by these presidential administrations that have absolutely no respect for civilian casualties, as we're finding out that the event that the United States government and Pentagon called a huge success when they declared that they stopped a major bombing of the Kabul airport a few days ago. If you remember that event, the mainstream media regurgitated it without question, saying how brave and bold the saviors at the U.S. Pentagon and at the Biden administration are by taking out this threat, which they now deemed ISIS-K, literally made up out of thin frickin' air. And now we're finding out that this grave ISIS-K threat, this imminent threat against American lives, American soldiers, was actually committed on a U.S. aid group worker that was literally refilling water in his car. And because of that, a U.S. drone strike was issued by the U.S. military that killed 10 members of his family, majority of which were small children. This was the attack that the mainstream media, that the Biden administration was beating their chest on about how great of an action this was. that predominantly butchered small children and ended their existence. This man had his life and his family's life and small children extinguished. He was a 14-year employee trying to fight malnutrition, a part of a U.S. organization that was called Nutrition and Education International. This man built factories, repair shops, was an important member of the community. And what do you think actions like this are going to cause? They're going to cause massive blowback and massive repercussions for people of the West. And remember, this is all being done in the name of your safety. Now, with a government like this, with the government that does this, that doesn't even try to apologize for this, with the mainstream media that by and large is ignoring this, these same people want you to trust them with personal health decisions for everyone. As of course, Joe Biden just announced a very draconian anti-American mandate for all federal workers and private businesses that have over 100 people to now go through mandatory medical procedures or face expensive, rigorous testing protocols that are absolutely ridiculous. And these mandates that violate bodily autonomy, that violate people's individual sovereignty, are of course having huge ramifications on the economic finance world, which already is reeling after being devastated by more big government policies, especially since the last lockdowns. Now, those businesses, including even hospitals, are being adversely affected by these ridiculous backwards mandates, as we're seeing perfectly exemplified in New York, where a hospital in Lewis County just announced that it will stop helping people deliver babies at their hospital because of the employees they had to fire under these ridiculous mandates. And literally, we went from all hospital workers, frontline workers, or heroes to do what I say or be fired, which I have to say is a very big transition here. And again, these mandates are not only going to severely affect hospitals, the workplace, the economies, and people's way of life, it's also something that's filled with hypocrisy that people don't want to go along with, because it's not only irrational on its face value, but it's unfair to a lot of people and not scientific health policies. Since, of course, as we know, the people who take this procedure could still spread the sickness, but they're not forced to get weekly tests like the people who didn't get this procedure, which again highlights that this is not about health. This is about punishing people who don't comply blindly. We're also finding out that members of Congress and their staff are exempt from this mandate as well, as of course we're missing clear issues and actual subjects that, if we addressed, would actually help people, like the topic of obesity, the topic of actual health. And if you're going to attack people for not taking a procedure, this is akin to the same thing as attacking fat people for being fat. And if we're going to live in a society where we shame people, attack people, deny them basic human rights services, deny them the access to water, to food, to life in our society because of supposed health reasons and designations, holy cow, are we going to have a total overhaul of society? And that is a society that I do not wish to live. Should a promiscuous person be denied treatment for STDs? Should a fat person be denied health services because they eat McDonald's? Should a smoker be denied access to a grocery store? These are the rules. This is what the current ruling establishment, government, and mainstream media are calling for, and that is absolutely ridiculous and not a society that I want to partake in. You'll find me in the woods. Matter of fact, I'm in the woods right now for a very specific reason. Like literally, I could open up my slide right now. I'm in like the backwoods of New Hampshire. It's beautiful here. I love it here. It's the live free or die state. And hell, things go crazier. I'm even going to go more into the woods. And hey, you guys might not ever see me again. But hey, I'm a little bit more optimistic than that for now. But how will things play out from here? How many people will comply? How many people will go along with absolutely backwards thinking? Well, only time will tell. We're going to be keeping a very close eye on it. And if you thought we did a good job looking at the current events of what's going on right now and sharing the bigger truths of it, share this video with your friends and family members. If you thought we did a poor job, dislike this video. Tell me why in the comment section below. I always appreciate constructive criticism. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you guys, and this is why I love you guys. Stay tuned for more here on wearechange.org.